What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Thursday, November 2nd, 2023, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 2:23 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and I have some very concerning information to share with you. So, we currently have two nuclear bombers airborne over the United States, and we also have a presidential Doomsday plane with its flight tracker turned off flying over the Midwest, and we also have a nuclear war command and control plane airborne as well. So this is very, very concerning, guys. And last night, we also had a presidential Doomsday plane flying with its tracker off. So 2 days in a row, presidential Doomsday planes flying over the Midwest with aerial refuelers and turning their trackers off. And today we have two B 52s airborne at the same time as the presidential Doomsday plane. And I also have some photos I want to share with you of a B 2 stealth bomber that was spotted over southern New York State today, which is extremely rare. And this B 2 was flying over the Hudson Valley. I have several photos of that. And also, one of my sources who lives close to Raven Rock, which is a doomsday bunker for the Pentagon, reported that they saw some black helicopters flying directly towards Raven Rock today, which is not that common. Okay, and me myself personally, I actually just saw a Chinook helicopter flying over my area today, which is extremely rare. I usually see them like maybe once or twice a year, less than 5 times a year. So something is definitely going on today. Tomorrow, the leader of Hezbollah is going to be giving a speech. He's going to make some kind of an announcement at 3 p.m. local time in the Middle East. So that's going to be at 9 a.m. Eastern time here in the US. And it's expected that he's going to declare war on Israel. So things are really heating up, guys. Last night, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a resolution that would allow the United States, Israel, and any of their allies to take any necessary measures against Iran to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. And they voted almost unanimously. 350 voted yes, and 53 representatives voted no. Okay. So it looks like it's going to pass the Senate, and then Biden is probably going to sign it. So this is huge, guys. This is basically a declaration of war against Iran. Okay. The U.S. is basically indirectly declaring war on Iran. The resolution says that it's unacceptable for Iran to get nuclear weapons, and that the United States and any U.S. allies will take any measures necessary to prevent that from happening. Okay. And we know that Iran is on the verge of getting nuclear weapons. They may already have them now. Okay. So I think that this war in the Middle East, it's not just about Gaza and Israel, it's about Iran, because Iran is the head of the snake. Okay. Iran is the one who's funding Hamas, who's funding the militants in Syria and Iraq that have been attacking U.S. bases in the last few weeks. Probably like 3 dozen bases have been attacked already. Iran is funding the Houthi rebels, which have fired missiles at Israel. Iran is funding Hezbollah. And of course, Iran has ballistic missiles. They have long range ballistic missiles, and they have nuclear weapons potentially. So I think that the U.S. and Israel are going to launch some kind of a preemptive strike against Iran. Okay. So we have to be prepared, guys. Things are about to escalate. Keep the people of Israel in your prayers. Okay. Because they are really suffering right now. I have friends in Israel, and they're telling me that Israel is basically in a full time war mode right now. It's basically the same as Ukraine is, okay? Especially like right after Russia invaded Ukraine, it's the same atmosphere right now in Israel. Okay, people are stressed out, people are on high alert. Israel has mobilized all of their reserves, guys. Okay, this is the first time in Israel's history that they've ever mobilized all of their reserves. Okay, they didn't do it during the Yom Kippur War, they didn't do it during the 6 Day War. So this is huge, guys. We're living in unprecedented times, and Putin yesterday signed a decree revoking the ratification of the nuclear test ban treaty, meaning that Russia is now going to start testing nuclear weapons in the atmosphere and underwater. So things are really escalating, guys. Okay, we have two Iranian missile ships in the Red Sea, which is where we also have a Marine Expeditionary Unit and two amphibious assault ships. And we also have three Israeli missile ships in the same sea as well, in the Red Sea. So we got two Iranian missile ships, three Israeli missile ships, and two U.S. amphibious assault ships with 2,500 Marines, all in the same area in the Red Sea right now. We also have six Chinese warships right off the coast of Oman, and they have reportedly guided missiles on them. Okay, so very concerning news coming out today, guys. We are really on the verge of World War III, possibly nuclear war. So get prepared. Make sure you have a bug out bag. Make sure you have a bug out plan. Make sure you have a nuclear war survival plan, which should center around a fallout shelter. Guys, this is really crazy what's going on. So I want to just show you these screenshots that I have of these nuclear bombers flying over the U.S. and the Doomsday plane. So this is from today, just about 2 or 3 hours ago, around 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Two B-52s in the air. One was flying over Arkansas. One flew from Minot, and it was over Nebraska at the same time as the Doomsday plane was over Western Illinois. And then a nuclear war command and control plane was off the coast of New England here. And here's a closer shot of the Doomsday plane. You can see that it met an aerial refueler in western Illinois and potentially got refueled. And then shortly after, it disappeared from the flight tracker. Okay, so here you can see the Doomsday plane disappears, but the aerial refueler continues going. So this is very rare, guys. It's very rare for a presidential Doomsday plane to do this. And they actually did this 2 days in a row now, because last night they did the same thing. A Doomsday plane took off from Offutt Air Base, and it met two aerial refuelers over northwestern Missouri. And then shortly after meeting the aerial refuelers, it disappeared from the flight tracker. So here you can see the two aerial refuelers, and the Doomsday plane disappeared. This was last night. Here you can see the three of them together. So very concerning, guys. We also have another U.S. military VIP plane going from D.C. to Colorado Springs. And this was at the same time as the B-52s were airborne this morning, 11:30-ish a.m. Eastern time, and the Doomsday plane. Okay, so something's going on, guys. Okay, two nuclear bombers, Doomsday plane with transponder off, and a military VIP plane going to Colorado Springs, which is where, guess what? Cheyenne Mountain is located. Okay. And here we have a picture of the B-52 that was flying over southern New York. Check that out, guys. You can't mistake that V shape. Okay. Here's another picture that was sent to me by a subscriber from Kingston, New York. All right. And from what I'm hearing is that this B-2 was basically just loitering over the Hudson Valley. It didn't have a discernible direction. It was seen in multiple areas. It wasn't heading in one particular direction, like north to south or something. It was kind of just loitering around. So this is very, very concerning, guys. Very concerning. And here's one of those black helicopters that my source spotted next to Raven Rock. That's a Doomsday bunker for the Pentagon. It's the alternate military command center. That's where the Pentagon would go if there were a nuclear war. They would command the nuclear war from Raven Rock, which is a bunker right on the border of Maryland, and it's in Pennsylvania. It's just a few miles away from Camp David. Okay, and my source tells me that this is extremely rare to see these in general. She usually only they usually only see these a few times a year. So it's not a coincidence that we're seeing all this stuff going on in the same day. Okay, helicopters near Raven Rock, military VIP plane going to Colorado Springs, B 2 stealth bomber seen over the Hudson Valley of New York, okay, which is just north of New York City. Doomsday plane 2 days in a row flying with transponder off. And then the last 2 days we had um, intense surveillance of the Baltic region of Europe. So, like I said, guys, Putin revoked the ratification of the nuclear test ban treaty. And yesterday, the U.S. House of Representatives basically voted to declare war on Iran. So, all these things are lining up. It's very concerning. Tomorrow, the leader of Hamas is going to give a speech and make some kind of an announcement. So all the stars are aligning now, guys. It looks like tomorrow or potentially this weekend, all hell could break loose and we could see World War III and nuclear war break out. Okay, so if that happens, if I still have internet, if I still have electricity, I will continue to broadcast and I'll go live 24/7. Okay, when all this kicks off. Here we have the locations of some of the major U.S. naval groups in the Middle East. Here we have the Dwight Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group just southeast of Crete, and the Gerald Ford Carrier Strike Group just southwest of Cyprus. So they're very close to each other. And then here we have the 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit in the Northern Red Sea. So I don't know if the Eisenhower is going to go towards Iran like they initially said. It may just hang out here in the Eastern Mediterranean. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. I want to just update you with some of the latest information that I have on the situation in Israel. So, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israeli forces penetrated the outskirts of Gaza City today. Okay, so Israeli forces have entered Gaza City, guys. Okay, and apparently, the Israeli soldiers are already directly on the territory of Gaza City and have been surrounding it from different sides, said Herzi Halevi, the chief of general staff of the Israeli Defense Forces. Russia's permanent representative at the UN Security Council said yesterday that Israel has no right to defend itself because it is an occupying power. So that is crazy, guys. I mean, that is like right out of the Bible. The Bible says that there's going to be a big alliance of countries led by Russia that's going to attack Israel in the latter days. And we're seeing that happening right now, guys. All these countries are aligning together to go against Israel. Okay, Russia, Iran, Turkey, all the Middle Eastern countries, they're all together. Okay, North Korea is helping Hamas and Hezbollah and the Iranian militants in Iraq and Syria. Okay, so even North Korea and China are involved in this as well, which goes back to the Bible, the kings of the East. Okay, the kings of the East go towards Israel and attack Israel with Magog, and Magog is Russia. Okay, so it looks like we might see Ezekiel 38 and 39 play out in the coming days. We'll have to wait and see. And let me just continue reading to you what Russia's permanent representative said. He said, I also cannot leave unmentioned the hypocrisy of the U.S. and its allies who, in other completely different situations, call for the compliance with humanitarian law, establish investigative commissions, impose sanctions against those who use force only as an extreme measure to stop the years long violence. And today, seeing the horrifying destruction in Gaza, which exceeds everything that they criticize in other regional contexts multifold, strikes at civilian facilities, deaths of thousands of children, and horrifying suffering of civilians amid a total blockage, they play mum. All they can do is to keep talking about Israel's alleged right for self defense, which, as an occupying state, it does not have. Okay, so that is just absolutely insane, guys. Okay, The Russian representative to the UN is saying that Israel has no right to defend itself because it's an occupying power. Absolutely insane. And in Syria, Iranian backed militias have apparently installed missile platforms in the eastern part of Syria in the Deir ez-Zor region. And in Iraq, a drone laden with explosives believed to have been launched by an Iranian backed militia crashed into the upper floor of a U.S. barracks at the Erbil Air Base in Iraq, but failed to detonate. Had the drone exploded, it likely would have injured or killed U.S. troops. And in Iraq, the chief of staff of the Popular Mobilization Forces directs that the state of maximum alert be raised in preparation for dealing with an emergency in the coming days. Okay, so the Popular Mobilization Forces are basically pro Hamas, pro Iran militias in Iraq. And so the leader of this group here is raising the state of readiness to maximum alert in preparation for dealing with an emergency in the coming days. So I'm telling you guys, this weekend, all hell's going to break loose. I'm telling you. And a Hezbollah commander told Iranian news agency IRNA that we are ready to enter Israel. We practiced and planned how to attack all Israeli support cruisers on the day of receiving the order. With new technology, we detonated the Merkava in 2 stages with a Kornet missile. All right, so Hezbollah has been training with various anti-tank systems. A lot of them are Russian to take out Israeli cruisers and also tanks. The National Intelligence Service of South Korea briefed lawmakers recently on evidence they have received, which shows North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has ordered for officials to begin providing support to the Palestinians in Israel and to begin looking into the possibility of weapons shipments to Iranian-backed militias across the Middle East. And the Israeli army says a broad attack to destroy military targets of the terrorist organization Hezbollah in response to firing from Lebanese territory today. Israeli army planes and helicopter gunships have been attacking targets of Hezbollah in the last few hours in response to the firing that was carried out from Lebanese territory earlier today, at the same time as attacks using artillery fire and tanks from the Israeli army. Okay, so they're attacking Lebanon very fiercely today because Lebanon launched like 24 rockets at Israel today, and they attacked some kind of Israeli base again. And the spokesman for the Israeli army said, we continue to advance in the urban area of Gaza and conduct face to face battles with Hamas forces. Our fighters continue to break the Hamas defense lines in the north of the Gaza Strip and control the central areas. The Australian Defense Ministry decided to deploy aircraft and military personnel to the Middle East. So, guys, all these countries are getting involved now. You see how the foundation for World War III is being set. Okay, all these countries are getting involved. Okay, I thought that Ukraine was going to be the flashpoint for World War III, but it looks like it's the Middle East, which makes perfect sense. Okay, the Middle East is where all 3 major religions have their holy land. Okay, so it makes sense that everybody in the world is now going to get involved in this war, and they're all going to pick sides. You're either on Israel's side or you're on Hamas' side. Okay, and so now Australia is sending aircraft and military personnel. We have breaking news that an Iranian Airbus plane, which is a military transport plane, landed at a Russian airbase in Syria. This is the Khmeimim airbase in Latakia. And apparently, the aircraft had 5 tons of weapons, including shoulder fired air defense systems. And apparently, they're going to deliver them to Hezbollah. This is the first weapon delivery flight of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps to Syria, which is being performed under the protection of the Russian armed forces. Okay, so Russia is allowing Iran to send equipment to Syria, which once it's in Syria, it can be distributed to Hezbollah, it can be distributed to Hamas, it could be distributed to all the jihadists in Iraq and Syria, all those different groups. So Russia's involved in this, guys. Okay, Russia, China, they're in it on this is all a big chess game, okay? And Russia and China were involved in getting this whole thing started, and it's all part of their plan to distract the U.S. from Ukraine and Taiwan and have us focus on the Middle East so then they can attack the Baltics or they can attack Taiwan or push further in Ukraine. The advisor to the supreme leader of Iran invited the countries of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization to conclude a non aggression pact. The Israeli army released a video showing an F 35 fighter jet intercepting one of the cruise missiles launched towards Israel yesterday from Yemen. And we have very intense Israeli airstrikes underway in southern Lebanon in the areas of Aitarun, Shaheen, Nakura, and Tir Haifa. So the situation between Lebanon and Israel is just exploding right now. Okay, it's really escalating. According to a Wall Street Journal report, the United States has information that Russia's Wagner Group may have sent the Pantsir S-1 air defense system to Hezbollah. The Jordanian army announced the interception of a drone that entered its airspace from Syria. The capital of Saudi Arabia has been flooded today due to abnormal rainfall. And according to the Taiwan Ministry of Defense, last night there was one U.S. destroyer and one Canadian frigate at the southern end of the Taiwan Strait sailing north. So, guys, things are really escalating. Please make sure you get prepared. I will be back later on tonight with another update. I might go live. I'll see how I feel. But make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you're notified when I do these emergency updates. And other than that, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.